afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our online bake camp. Today we are going to be starting off with making our chocolate cake. But before we start, I'm going to show you a few things that you need to know, like measuring your ingredients, like making your buttermilk, and some other things. So there are two ways you can measure your ingredients. You can either use the automatic scale, which is this one. Uses, when you switch it on, it shows a figure here, 0, then you can place your item on it and measure, or you use cups. We're going to be using mostly cups and scale in this class. So first off, I'm going to show you how to measure using cups, and then I'm going to show you how to measure using your scale. So first of all, we are going to be measuring our flour. These are my cups. The cups are graduated. You can see 1/4 cup, 1/3 cup, 1/2 cup, and 1 cup. The biggest is 1 cup, which is the same thing as 250 ml. Now we now have our spoons. We have a tablespoon, half tablespoon, teaspoon, quarter teaspoon, and the rest of it all is here. So for this recipe, we are going to be using 2 cups of flour. So I'm going to show you how to measure your flour. Now I have my bucket of flour here. Now a very important thing to note, like I said earlier, is that you should always sieve your flour. Wash your hands before you start, and always sieve your flour. So for 2 cups of flour, this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to fetch my flour from the container and put it here. Put it here. Do you understand? Now I'm not going to use exactly this. I'm not going to use exactly this as it is right now. What you do is that after you have measured, you swipe like this. Just get a knife and just swipe. This is a cup of flour, and then you sieve. So I'm going to do this in another bowl. Pour it there. The same thing again. You measure again. You measure. Can you see? Then you swipe. Exactly. This is another cup. So we are using 2 cups of flour, which I'm going to sieve right now. So you sieve like 2-3 times into your bowl. One of the advantages of sieving is that it helps to remove debris from your flour. You can see what I'm removing from this one after sieving like 3 times. So the next thing is I'm going to show you how to measure again. This time around we're going to be measuring cocoa powder. So just like I measured my flour, in here I have 1/2 cup of cocoa powder, quality good cocoa powder. Now you can see the way it's looking. I cannot use this exactly. I'm going to sieve it into my flour. Okay, I'm done with sieving that. You can see this. I'm going to whisk it together. So I have in here 2 cups of flour, 1/2 cup of cocoa powder. So the next thing I'm going to do is measure my sugar. I'm going to be using 1.5 cup of sugar. So same way, we measured our flour. You measure and swipe. So anytime you are working with cup measurement, it's the same thing. You can see that. Now 1/2 cup of sugar, 1.5 cup, sorry. Just take note of the graduation of your cups. So in there it goes. I'm also going to be adding 1 tablespoon of coffee inside. So I'm going to whisk everything together. Now this makes up my dry ingredients. I'm going to be adding a pinch of salt too inside. Just a pinch of salt. Let me get the salt so that I can add it and show you. So I have my pinch of salt here. You can see this. So I'm just going to be adding a pinch. Just a pinch goes in there, and that's all. Our dry ingredient is ready. So we are going to the liquid ingredients. So I'm going to show you how to make your buttermilk. So to make your buttermilk, make sure you are using a full cream milk. An example is this pig milk, is full cream milk. So to make your buttermilk, you need your milk and you need vinegar. Now, a cup of milk, which is one cup of milk to 1 tablespoon of vinegar. But in this recipe, we are using half cup of milk. So I'm going to pour my milk here, which means I'll be using half a tablespoon of vinegar. So there you go, that's my full cream milk. I pour it into a cup. Okay. Then I add half tablespoon of vinegar. That's all. Stir it together and leave it for 5 minutes, and it will be ready for use. So while we're waiting for our buttermilk to be ready, I'm going to be breaking my eggs. Now you break your eggs in separate bowls so that you don't have a case of bad egg. So we're going to be making use of 3 medium-sized eggs. So I'm going to pour it into the main bowl. Break the other one. Pour it here. Now all my eggs are good. Make sure you always use fresh eggs. Next thing I'm going to add is a cup of vegetable oil into my eggs, a cup of vegetable oil. Then half cup of yogurt. Then 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise. 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise, and you whisk together. Okay, so now I'm going to be adding half cup of hot boiling water. This is going inside, and I'm going to whisk it properly. Whisk it properly. Okay, so we are done with whisking. I'm now going to be adding my dry ingredients into the liquid gradually. So whisk gently. You add again. And whisk. Make sure you whisk till every lump has disappeared. That's why we are doing it gradually. This is also why you should sieve your flour very well, or your ingredients very well. So I'm going to be adding the last batch, and I'll whisk. Remember our half cup of buttermilk. It's at this junction we are going to be adding our buttermilk. Now you see, can you see the way the milk is right now? Can you see? So we are going to be adding that inside. Okay, so you whisk. Now you can decide to add some chocolate inside. If you want, you can add some chocolate inside, 60 grams. So let's measure 60 grams. So if you are using the scale, make sure you put your bowl on the scale first before you switch it on. What I mean is, you place your bowl here and switch it on. Then you now measure whatever you want to measure. So we're going to be measuring 60 grams. Now feel free to use your desired type of chocolate. You can use chocolate in bar, you can use chocolate spread like this. Just feel free. It's all part of making it nice. So I'm going to measure 60 gram. Okay, this is more than 60, but okay, I'm still going to use it that way. So this is going into my batter. Okay, so let me close this, remove this from here, and you whisk together. Now, to prepare your pan, put your pan on your parchment paper like this, then you cut a round circle, and then you cut out the paper. Now we are doing for a 6-inch cake, so this goes in here. This recipe is okay for 2 layers, 2 layers of 8-inch cake. We are making a 6-inch cake and some extra, so this is going to be okay. So my pan is ready. Just make sure it's neatly placed inside. So that's it. So the last thing we're going to do is to add our rising agent. In this instance, we are using baking soda. So I'm going to measure a tablespoon of baking soda. Don't forget, make sure you swipe when you measure. If it's not okay, pour it back and do it again. Okay, great. So 1 tablespoon. And always cover your rising agent, cover it properly. And 1 tablespoon of vinegar. Now when I pour it, you see the reaction that will take place. And you see that? So immediately you do this, you whisk everything together, and into the oven it goes immediately. So whisk everything properly together. And pour it into your pan, halfway, and another pan halfway. So like I said, this recipe is okay for 2 layers of 8-inch cake. So this goes into the oven. Can you see this? So our cake batter is ready for the oven. Let's go.